Ready to explore the dark side of the American dream? Capital City Theater presents Stephen Sondheim and John Weidman's Tony-winning musical Assassins, a bold, provocative journey through the minds of 9 individuals who changed or tried to change history by targeting the President of the United States. From John Wilkes Booth to Lee Harvey Oswald and beyond, their stories collide in unexpected, eerie, and even darkly funny ways. Don't miss this gripping and unforgettable production running August 1st through 10th at the Playhouse in the Overture Center. Get tickets and more information at capitalcitytheater.org. Ready to boss up? Madison Magnet is Dane County's premier young professionals organization. Magnet aims to give young professionals a place to connect, collaborate, and develop. Joining Magnet gives you access to a network of 250 plus young professionals, free access to 40 plus events per year, and an opportunity to join committees or the board of directors. Membership starts at only $30. Sign up today to get access to all of Magnet's events and member benefits. This is CityCast Madison. I'm Bianca Martin, and here's what Madison's talking about. Y'all, it's Thursday, so that means we're dishing on Madison's food scene. And Patrick Downey, you're the owner of the Victory Cafe on Atwood Avenue, which recently reopened after a fire, closed down operations for 10 months. How have things been going since opening up again?
Really fantastic. Better than I could have even imagined.
Oh, that's good, because I know so many who love the Victory Cafe and people like me who are often passing it almost on a daily basis are just like, oh, I can't wait for it to reopen, my heart, you know?
Yeah.
So, you put together a GoFundMe to help cover the costs of the extensive fire damage and raised more than $20,000 from supporters. Like, how does it feel to have the community backing you in that way?
Well, it feels really great. It feels indescribably good.
Can you share, for those who don't know exactly what happened, maybe heard about it or just hearing about it now, what went down with the fire and what were the damages like?
Well, when they first came, the investigators thought that it was an electrical fire because there's a conduit on the side of the building where the fire originated. They did a very exhaustive investigation, and I thought that they determined that it wasn't an electrical fire, that it was not caused by anything inside the building. In other words, we didn't start it. So they categorized it as a fire of unknown origin because they didn't find any traces of accelerant or anything. But apparently they maybe went back to thinking that it was an electrical fire. It's kind of unknown. I've heard a couple of different things.
But it did cause extensive damage.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
Because of the age of the building, it was built in 1910. Some of the construction things, I guess you could say that they lent themselves to a more destructive fire pattern. And it kind of went up the one side of the building and then across over the ceilings in the second floor. And it did a lot of damage. But then what happened was when they started repairing the damage, they found a lot of stuff that wasn't up to modern building codes.
Got it. And you're the owner of this building. You had been in the building for many years before that. And then was it in 2023 you decided, okay, I might as well own this when it came up?
Well, it came to our attention that the property owner was going to sell it. And Atwood Avenue has gone a little bit crazy with property values. And I thought if someone bought the building, they would probably throw us out when my lease expired. So we managed to scrape up the down payment and bought the building.
Well, I just know so many people that like the Victory is their spot. Like this is a very community-oriented place that's beloved. And this special place, we know about it in the Sass neighborhood, but as far as I understand it, this isn't the first Victory Cafe you've operated in your days.
Correct.
You had one in Brooklyn. Can you take us back and tell us a little bit how you got started with slinging coffee and under the name The Victory?
Yeah, well, I had all kinds of different jobs. And at a certain point in my neighborhood in Brooklyn, I always like to say that Brooklyn was a lot different then. And it didn't have any good coffee. And I'm not really a coffee snob exactly. I like to think of people as aficionados rather than snobs. An aficionado, I think, is someone that really loves a thing, and a snob is someone who's looking for something that they can prove they're smarter than you about. And
Yeah. They have low self-esteem.
something like that. They got all kinds of stuff going on. But so I had been running a vegan restaurant in Manhattan for a few years, and I left to run another, like a few little places in Soho owned by an individual who revealed himself as being rather unsavory. So that job didn't last very long. And then I needed a job, and I kind of felt like it would probably be good to get a job I couldn't quit, because that was kind of my pattern. I would get a job and get promoted a few times and then quit. So there was this little tiny storefront in my neighborhood in Brooklyn, Boerum Hill, Brooklyn, that had been empty for probably 20 years. And a lot of that neighborhood was empty buildings and vacant lots. And so I rented it, and I couldn't think of a name. And it came to my attention that there had been a little cafeteria in that spot, probably around the World War I era, is my guess, because it was called the Victory Cafeteria. And I think that's when that name was floating around.
Wow.
We stole it and updated it by adding the. That's like the modern touch, the. So it doesn't mean anything. It's not a victory over anything. Yeah, so it was too small to make any kind of a restaurant. So I put in a coffee shop, and yeah, it just was popular kind of from the beginning.
Yeah, it made an impact. Written up in the New Yorker, the New York Times, Time Out Magazine, Daily Mag. I mean, you were making a splash.
Well, those were all customers, so it's
Oh, there you go. You're amongst
yeah.
the writers and the artists.
I guess so. I guess you could say that. Yeah, it was pretty exciting, I have to say. The New Yorker came out about 2 months after we opened, and the New York Times we were in a couple of times, but the last time was when we were closing. They did a lament, you might say. We also got in Food and Wine. They had these like hot young chefs, and they said, "What's your favorite hole in the wall?" And one of them said the Victory, and it was for a sandwich that we made, and the coffee, and my wife made cookies, so she got her name in Food and Wine magazine. We really were focused as much on creating like an environment as we were on serving really good stuff, whether it was coffee or food. Because my take on it is, if you could have the best or like a really good coffee or sandwich, and if the person that's handing it to you is unpleasant and the environment you're in is unpleasant, it's not going to taste that good. And you're not going to feel that good.
It's true. It's so true. Like, and it's kind of astonishing sometimes when someone has a good product, but the service, everything was negative. And it's like, well, now I don't want to come back.
Well, and I took over a place in Manhattan that was kind of notorious for having service that was just, I mean, unfriendly wouldn't really do justice to it, like to the multi-layered. So I had to kind of change that. And when I would hire people, I would tell people, like, when they get done eating, I want them to walk out and stand on the sidewalk for a minute. I don't want them to think, wow, that was really good tofu, because it was a vegan place. I want them to just think, wow, life is good. You know, like you just add that little something where it goes beyond selling whatever it is that you're selling. You sort of add something to their day.
Yeah, a more holistic view and very humanistic, right? And I feel like those third spaces are just so critical. And that's what the Victory is this third space where people come for the food and the coffee, but like more so to be a human being and have that be a part of their life, and even building healthy community.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. Well, so how do you view the role of places like cafes when it comes to building a healthy community? Obviously, it's happening.
I would say that the Victory is very much that kind of, like, they think of it as their place, you know, like in Brooklyn, I think 4 different couples met and got married at the Victory. They didn't get married at the Victory, but they got married because they met there. And it was a really tiny place. So if you were in there and someone was talking, you heard them. And I mean, I think this might be a New York thing. If you heard them and you had something to say, then you said it.
Oh, really?
Oh, absolutely.
You jump in?
It was basically an accepted thing. And it is out here too. Like
leave him, honey. Or
whatever the case may be. Like, that was just the deal. And that's the deal here too. Like, whether, I guess if people that come a lot like that or don't mind that.
I love that. And, you know, my first experience at the Victory Cafe was a long time ago, like probably closer to when you opened up, like a little after 2010, where my sister brought me in. And my sister, you know, for me, she was like rules the town type woman. She worked
She did.
Yeah, Monica Martin.
Me
mother.
too. Yeah.
That's your memory of her too.
Was ruling the town, absolutely.
Yeah.
I feel like she rules it from Los Angeles now.
Now she's out in LA.
Yeah.
But when she brought me, it was a new experience for me. Like it felt like a very hip place, but in a very accessible way. And I just felt like there was something special going on there. And I'd learned about like different rules that you might have had around like wanting it to be human. One rule. What is it, Patrick?
You can't talk on your cell phone.
Can't talk on your cell phone.
That's the only rule.
Right. Get out of here.
I mean, there's an informal rule of don't get on my nerves, but that's not a rule exactly.
Was there a rule before about no Wi-Fi?
Well, we didn't have a rule. We just didn't have Wi-Fi.
Okay.
We didn't take credit cards for the first 20 years. And when I started taking credit cards, then I needed Wi-Fi. So I thought, okay, I've got Wi-Fi now. So we've had Wi-Fi for about 5 years now.
Okay, yeah. So when I came, there was no Wi-Fi, no talking on your cell phone. So it was just so embedded in community. And I think that is part of that special sauce that you're creating or you've created. And I do want to talk about the community that you've created here in Madison. But first, when you first got here, did the neighborhood embrace you right away or did it take some time?
It was kind of hard to tell because I was used to so much more density. Like, even though I was on a side street in Brooklyn, like probably 5,000 people lived in the surrounding 3 blocks. So without much of an exaggeration, I mean, you know, a lot of people.
Yeah, Madison's still learning about density.
Yeah, so that was a little bit of a shock. But I think that the people that were there, okay, I'll be honest with you. When I first opened in Brooklyn, there was a little group of this type of person that I find to be like kind of insufferable who move into a neighborhood that's maybe not the kind of neighborhood they grew up in, and they start referring to themselves as pioneers.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, kind of obnoxious. And the bodega charged 60 cents for a cup of coffee, and it wasn't good coffee. I love bodegas, but this wasn't good coffee. So I just thought, well, I'll just charge whatever Starbucks charges. So I did. And these people were pissed that it wasn't 65 cents. And so there was a group of them that lived on the block, and it came to my attention that they banded together and formed like almost like a little boycott. And I'm thin-skinned. A friend of mine once described it, he said, I'm not really sensitive as much as I'm just touchy.
I think I'm both.
Yeah, probably we all are. But anyway, I thought, well, that's okay. It's not for everyone. If you don't want to come in, I'm cool with that. So it kind of formed into a slogan, which is on our T-shirt. It's not for everyone. And it sounds a little snarky, but it's actually not meant to be snarky. It's more just like, listen, if you don't like it, you don't like it. It's okay. So in any neighborhood, there's people that don't like it, and sassy included. But I would say that the people who like it, love it. And the people who don't. So that's fine.
Looking for a new way to play outside? American Players Theater in Spring Green is Newsweek's 2025 Reader's Choice Award winner for Best Outdoor Theater Performance, and for a great reason. With 9 plays on stage, there's a story to suit any mood. You can see Shakespeare Under the Sky and Stars in the large outdoor Hill Theater, or a world premiere in the intimate indoor Touchstone Theater that offers climate control and no mosquitoes. Whatever path you choose, it's a unique way to spend time outside with your favorite people. Pack a picnic, because gas grills are available for your grilling pleasure. And enjoy hiking trails for a little post-meal activity before you see some world-class theater. It's time for you to see why the New York Times calls APT a, quote, Wisconsin treasure. Best part, dear friend and listener, you get 20% off your play tickets with the code CITY20. Plot your summer play date at AmericanPlayers.org and thank us later. Remember that amazing little cafe you discovered last summer with the perfect latte and crazy view? Or that sweet hiking spot your friend told you about, but you can't remember the name? With Overlook Maps, special places never get lost again. Create personal lists of places you've been and want to go. Build your must-visit list for your next vacation, your foodie favorites for date nights, or your weekend getaways when you need to escape. Share your favorite hidden gems with friends and family. Let them discover that incredible barbecue joint you found, or that scenic overlook that takes your breath away. Or keep your secret spots completely private. Planning a trip with friends? Create a shared list where everyone can add their ideas. Visiting a new city? Check out lists from locals who know the real gems, not just the tourist traps. And here's the best part. No ads cluttering your lists. No one selling your data to advertisers. Just your personal collection of amazing places organized exactly how you want them. Overlook Maps, collect, organize, and share the places that matter to you. Download free at overlookmaps.com. And check out overlookmaps.com/Madison to see some of our lists and great spots on a map and in your pocket. Your places, your way.
This episode of CityCast is sponsored by Babbel. Learning a new language opens the door to new friends, new cultures, maybe even a whole new life. So why not start that journey today? You can start speaking a new language with confidence thanks to Babbel's conversation-based technique that quickly teaches you useful words and phrases about the things you actually talk about in the real world. I'm CityCast CEO David Plotz, and I've been learning Spanish with Babbel, just one of the 12 languages you can learn with it, including Dutch, French, Italian, which is going to be next for me, Turkish, and Russian. I love the interactive dialogues that Babbel has, which allow me to practice what I've learned right away, and also the speech recognition function, which makes sure I'm getting the pronunciation just right, which honestly, usually I'm not. Also, I love that Babbel's lessons always cover actual things that I talk about in the real world, like food, talking to people I've just met, and also food. Staying motivated to learn a new language has never been easier thanks to real-time feedback, progress trackers, and handy visualizations, in only 10 to 15 minutes a day on Babbel's mobile app or website. So get talking with Babbel. I want you to learn another language, so I'm teaming up with Babbel to gift you 55% off subscriptions, but only for our listeners at babbel.com/citycast. Get up to 55% off at babbel.com/citycast. Spelled BABBEL.com/citycast. Babbel.com/citycast. Rules and restrictions may apply.
I have a little bit of history here. That when you first opened, it was during the Scott Walker administration, and you posted a sign of support for teachers and kind of union action, and someone threw a rock through your window.
Well, I think that they launched it from like a potato launcher, because it went through the plate glass window at about 10 feet above the sidewalk, and it went 40 feet to the back of the shop without hitting the floor, and it put a hole in the wall at about 4 feet up. So, and there were people in there at the time.
Oh, that's extremely violent.
It was upsetting. Like, we just had one little sort of almost like a tasteful little flyer, like support teachers' rights, that was maybe like 8 by 10. So I just put covered all of the windows with posters until the windows got fixed. And then even after that, I kind of thought whoever did it was going to drive home from work and drive by every day and just feel like, oh, now what?
You doubled down.
Well, we came here from Brooklyn, like, come on.
Yeah. Well, do you see that as a catalyst moment at all? Like, in terms of people gathering behind you? Like, what happened in terms of the community and supporting? Because that's got to be a little scary.
You're right. It was unsettling, disconcerting. Well, it was interesting because, once again, to take it back to the Brooklyn thing, like a bunch of times in Brooklyn, people broke down the front door just to get the $2 tip cup. And so I just fixed the door. And there was a guy sitting at a table, then the rock went past where he was sitting, and normally his daughter would be sitting in the chair across from him, and she would have gotten hit by the rock, but she wasn't there. And they came in the next morning and they said, you should put a cup on the counter. And I said, I'm not going to put a cup on the counter. It's my problem. My window got busted. And they convinced me. They said, well, you were showing some support for this thing, and I think people would support you. And so I thought, well, it's $1,000. So I put a cup on the counter and the window got paid for in a day. like that day. I didn't have to put the cup on the counter for a second day. So yeah, it was very moving. I was like stunned. Like, I mean, I'm talking $1,000 in a day. One of them was a 94-year-old fellow came in and gave me a check for $400. It was really something.
The power of goodwill and being a space that is generating that means a lot. And I hear you pride yourself on remembering people's names and their orders, if they come into the shop regularly. You mean you've been down for the business for, you said 10 months because of the fire. How's it been getting back to it? Do you remember folks' names? Like, are you steel trap? Everything is still there, up and running?
Well, I've got usually two answers to questions. There's the official answer, and then there's a different answer. The official answer is, of course, I remember everyone's names. But, I mean, I remember most people's names, and it comes back to me quickly, if not, and a lot of orders. It's pretty comical, actually, because, I mean, it's not rocket science. People with their coffee. I would tell people in Brooklyn, if you liked my shop, I was going to see you 7 days a week until you moved out of the neighborhood, because nobody makes coffee out there. And it's not quite the same here, but with some people, I do see them every single day. And if you order the same thing every single day, eventually anybody's going to remember what that was. But also, to be honest, I care. I think that's why people like the Victory, because they can tell that we genuinely care.
Yeah. And I know we've mostly avoided the things that you serve because that you serve in terms of food and drink, because you're serving kindness and community. But where are you getting your coffee and what can people buy at the shop? At the cafe, sorry.
That's okay. It's a shop. I call it the shop. We get our coffee from a roaster in Milwaukee called Anodyne, and we've been getting that since we opened in Madison 15 years ago. And you can get all kinds of stuff. We make really good sandwiches. Most of them are put on a panini press, like mozzarella, tomato, and pesto. We have a really good tuna melt. We have good sandwiches. And we just recently started getting donuts from Fosdal's. Because, Level 5, which is amazing, they just sell from their own shop now. They have their own shop.
We talked to them on the pod, yeah.
Yeah, they're great. They came in on my second day with like big smiles and a box of donuts as a gift. They're the best. But, you got to get something, right? So we've always loved Fosdal's, which is a place down in Stoughton. It's been there for I don't even know how long. So we get their stuff now.
Yeah.
And we have smoked salmon, which is good.
It's so good. It's good for your brain. It keeps me, it's like, I need some brain juice. I need some salmon.
Omega-3s, all that.
Yeah. And do you have a favorite part about the Victory? Like from where you're standing, what's your favorite thing about your cafe shop?
So often when we get to the point in an interview with a prospective employee where I have offered them the job, I usually put in the disclaimer that everything here, it's all about me. I just love being in that environment. Like 3 weeks after the fire, I turned 65. And I thought, do I even want to do this anymore? Because it was a bit of an ordeal getting back up and open. And I just thought, well, what are you going to do if you don't do that? Like, I would kind of pay to go and do what I do because I get a lot of attention and I like attention. So it's a lot of it is very selfish. Okay. So when the article in the New York Times came out, I was, all the people were so upset. And I'm also given to a certain small amount of smugness, like just a really small amount. So I thought, yeah, I just really don't, I gave so much to that neighborhood because I do invest like massive amounts of emotional energy. So I was standing on the sidewalk out here talking to the writer on the phone. He was fact checking a couple of things. And then when I hung up, I realized, like, I went through some pretty tough times when that cafe was open. Like my first year, I probably worked 105 hours. I know I worked 105 hours a week. It didn't automatically make money. The first couple of years were really, really rocky. And some other stuff was going on. And I realized that in addition to making this wonderful environment for all these people, like they kind of carried me too. And it kind of hit me like, I don't know, it was like a visceral awareness that, okay, it's a little bit, corny, but like just love, like people. So I have a little sticker of like a little Brooklyn brownstone, and it just had 2 words on it, Brooklyn love. And I just feel like there's this sort of way people are with each other that it's kind of like love. You might never have dinner together or do any of those official love things, but it adds a piece to your day. I wanted my shop in Brooklyn to be kind of an oasis from like the
life
walking, just walking from point A to point B in New York City once upon a time was kind of an ordeal. And when you walked into my shop, you knew you were safe. And also, I feel like I'm kind of an umbrella in the sense that I'm relatively loud and some might say obnoxious. And so, like, I think there's almost no one that comes into my shop that's as loud or as obnoxious. So they can kind of be whatever they want and they're kind of safe. And I know that might sound kind of crazy. It might not even be true.
So your authenticity is, lighting the light for others. And that's me getting into the corny realm. But I don't think anything that you've said so far is corny. And I think that is absolutely what's being served is love. I felt that across Madison.
That slogan, it's not for everyone, that's sort of what it refers to, too. If you don't, like, I'm not a vending machine. Like, when you come in, I'm there, too. This is my life. It might not feel like part of your life that counts because you're not out with your friends. But, like, if the part of your day when you're just getting your coffee doesn't count, then, like, my whole life doesn't count because that's what I do. And I don't accept that.
It's a very important part of the day, an important part of our lives. And Patrick, it's very exciting that the journey of the Victory continues, that you continue to have your space where people can come and give you attention and vice versa. And you can be your big, bold self. Now that the Victory 2.0 is in full swing, or possibly, I guess, 3.0, considering New York was number 1. What can people expect from the space? Any changes? Is it mostly the same or anything new?
Yeah, just more of the same. More of the same old thing. So we have some more food. And it looks prettier. It's all cleaned up and shiny. It looks exactly the same except for the display case, which I think maybe shop owners become enamored with, like when I had this little restaurant in Brooklyn, I bought a dishwasher that was like really fast, and it was like I had bought a Ferrari. So now that's how I feel about the display case.
Okay, there's something, it's a little bit more usable. I mean, honestly, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Oh, you know what we did get? We got some outlets.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
you are teching up.
I'm like reaching out.
Well, that is a new change. So this is exciting, but also the love stays the same. Love can't be divided. I don't know. That's kind of like love is. So Thank you for all of the emotional energy that you put into our community. And we're so glad that you guys are back open. Patrick, this has been so fun. And I mean, let the Victory Lap continue.
Okay. Thank you, Bianca. This was really fun. Thank you so much.
That's Patrick Downey, owner of the Victory Cafe on Atwood Ave. The ongoing community love and support for the Victory is a beautiful quality of Madison. Madison supports Madisonians, especially those like Patrick who foster community. And that's also our aim here, by the way, at CityCast Madison, creating a dedicated place where you can go daily to meet your neighbors, the people who make our city go round, be it alders, chefs, performing artists, scientists, or journalists with the latest local story. It's a privilege bringing you this podcast and our newsletter because we love our community and want it to be so strong and connected. Our current times demand it. So what's your role? Become a CityCast Madison neighbor, a part of our membership program, which, in addition to feeling cool for investing in something you love, comes with perks like ad-free listening, invitations to members-only events, and more. So to all of our neighbors, thank you for your ongoing support. And if you aren't yet a neighbor, why not? Join us. Head to membership.citycast.fm/Madison to help ensure this local service. That's all for today, here on CityCast Madison. I'm Bianca Martin, your host. If you enjoyed the show, why not share this episode with the coffee snob, or rather aficionado, in your life? All right, we'll be back tomorrow morning with more stories from around the city. Until then, take good care, eat well, and be in community.